Hello, my name is Julia Spinoza, and today I'm going to present you my take on a language learning app based on improving your speaking skills called Usability. So I will walk you through my work, starting with my user persona, his goal, needs, and challenges. Then I will present you my idea of the prototype that could overcome the challenges and help my persona reach his goals. Then I will show you what task I ask some users to do in order to know if my app was working properly, and then all the changes I've done after gathering feedbacks from the users. Then I will show you and explain you what are the next steps for Easy Speaky, and ending in explaining what are the pros and cons of this overall experience and what did I like and didn't like about creating and building this app. So first of all, I would like you to meet Winston Miller. Winston Miller is a 29-year-old English man who's been living in the Netherlands for the past 3 years. So he's actually been an expat for the past 3 years. He's currently living in Amsterdam and he speaks a basic level of Dutch. He's been in a relationship for the past 2 years with a Dutch girl called Meryl, and is a full-time digital marketing specialist. Now, Winston has been saying that he's always scared of looking stupid when speaking Dutch in front of native people. He would love to gain enough confidence to speak. So what does Winston want? Well, Winston wants to share deeper connection with his Dutch friend, colleagues, girlfriend, and family-in-law. He wants to be able to have daily simple conversation with Dutch speakers and to feel more included in the Dutch culture. He wants to enjoy Dutch in his daily life instead of being stressed every time he has to speak. And he wants to have enough vocabulary to be able to cover different topics with confidence. So what is the problem here? Well, the problem is that Winston is busy. Winston has a full-time job. He loves to cook. He loves to practice. He loves to go to the gym. So he can spend only 10 minutes maximum per day into practicing. Winston is an expat, meaning that he needs to practice his speaking skills on useful daily life topics. He needs to be able to use his skills right away into his daily life. Winston is a shy person, so he needs to practice without being scared of making mistakes or being judged by other people. He needs a safe space for practicing. And Winston is someone with a busy mind. So he has a lot going on in his life, a lot going on in his head. So he needs a way to save and practice the vocabulary he really wants to learn in order to remember them properly. So the challenges here is that Winston says that when it comes to speaking another language, he's afraid of people's judgment. He's always been practicing vocabulary. He's already been practicing vocabulary in some apps in the past, so he already has some basic skills. But his main difficulty now is to speak correctly. He needs oral practice. So the challenges here is that Winston needs to practice his speaking daily without being afraid of being judged. He needs daily oral practice that can fit his tight schedule, like we said before. He needs to learn and remember useful vocabulary that will match his speaking needs, and he needs to gain enough confidence to speak. So based on the challenges and Winston's goals and needs, I've created a few prototypes. I've created actually a whole lot of prototypes, and I decided here to share only the most important ones. The one that actually I think represented mostly the flow I want to create with Easy Speaking. So first of all, you have a onboarding skill test screen. The user has the possibility to take a test or to skip it, but I'm highlighting the test on the screen because it will allow the user to end up in exactly the right level, so to start practicing exactly at the level he is at the time. So that's the first screen. The second one is the speaking dashboard. It's the dashboard where you can find all the topics and lessons that you can use to practice your speaking lessons. Then you have an example of the speaking lesson with a video in that case that you can just listen and repeat, or you can choose to read out loud the text underneath it. You need to click on the mic and then click on next. On the same speaking lesson, you can add flashcards. So every time you click on the next button after speaking out loud, you have a screen showing exactly what you've been saying. You can click on a word and decide to add this word to a flashcard set. You can add a memo if you want, you can save and continue, and that's how you add your flashcard on Easy Speaking. And then I displayed here the flashcard dashboard, where you can find all the flashcards you've been saving, and you can decide to practice them or edit them. So based on that, I've decided to do a usability test plan and to test 3 tasks. The first one is the sign up and the onboarding process. Why is that? It's because to me, it's an extremely important task. That's going to decide if the user is actually going to use your app, talk about your app, or actually never going to come back again. So I wanted to make sure that the onboarding was simple and efficient and also fun and easy to understand. My second task was to complete a speaking lesson and to add a flashcard. Why? Because it's actually the whole purpose of Easy Speaky. You need to practice your speaking skills, but you also need to understand how you can add flashcards from your speaking lesson to practice them later. Then I asked my users to complete a flashcard lesson, so to go back to their flashcards and practice them. And I ended up with the modify and edit flashcard. It's an option that you have. You can always go back to a flashcard and decide to modify, delete, and edit them. And I ask my users to do that because sometimes you can just add a memo on your flashcard that is a bit off, and then in the end you don't get the proper meaning of the words you actually saved. So it was important for me that users could easily go back to their flashcard and decide, okay, I'm going to change what I wrote and get this flashcard properly, or I'm going to switch this flashcard for another set because it doesn't make sense that it's actually in the set I've put it in the first place. After this usability test plan, I got some feedbacks on my early prototype. So first of all, it was interesting to see that no major issues or catastrophe has been spotted. So all of the tasks I've been asking my users to do were doable. Also, it was interesting to see from the user perspective that it was really difficult to not be too attached about the low fidelity design. I got a lot of feedbacks about UI, which was not the purpose of the first usability testing, but which made me realize that UI was a very important part of the Easy Speaky app. That being said, I had some UX feedback, some UX stuff to change. So first of all, you have this screen. This is the screen you get when you click on next on the flashcard practice. So in that case, you click on next, you have a correct answer. If there is no button on the screen, all the screen is clickable, but that was confusing my users because they didn't know where to click in the first place. That is kind of making sense as well that they're confused because in every other screen, I put a button option. On this screen, this is the screen you get when you actually finish the flashcard exercise. So you have the number of correct word, wrong word, and the flashcard learned. But I got feedback that the rewarding feeling was a bit missing from the screen and they would like to have another metric on it. This screen is the screen you get when you click on a set and you have to choose between practicing the set, flashcard set, or see the set. The button see was confusing for the users because they didn't understand that they could do something else than just see, and they could actually edit the set. So I realized that I should change the name of this button. And this screen is the screen you get when you click on accessing your flashcard. You can edit, so you can save or delete the flashcard, but people were confused that they could not just go back and just cancel. They could actually do it by clicking on the black cross, but I thought that maybe it would be interesting to also add something like a cancel button underneath the delete so they know that they can use both option. So this is a UX improvement I did based on the comment. Like I said, in the first screen of the correct answer of the flashcard, I've added a next button. So now they can click directly on next and they're not confused on where to click. Then on the practice finishing of the flashcard, I've added the metric of the time practice to give a bit more reward, feeling, okay, today you practice 5 minutes, that's really good. On the set issue, when the button was C, I decided to call it access set because when you access a set, it can imply that you can do other things than just seeing the set, which is the case. You can edit it as well. So I modified the name, and I decided to add a cancel button on the edit flashcard page. I left the black cross in case you prefer to use that one, but I also added a cancel button. On the UI, even though it was not the purpose of the first usability test, I decided to change 2 things. The first thing is that when you are a first user and you land on the registering screen, you have the possibility to try without an account. That's not something I highlighted in the first place because I would like people to register and to come back, but I decided to still change the color and underline the text so people would understand that try without an account is something clickable, and then they can use that option. Then after these steps, you had a screen saying verify email. And it was confusing for some people. They didn't know if I had to actually stop using the app at that moment, verify the email, and then go back on the app from the email, or if they could just click on next. So I just added a text saying that you can verify your email now, or just click on next and do it later. So now, what are the next steps for Easy Speaky? On the UX perspective, I think I would like to think deeper about the user dashboard, because that's something I didn't thought very well through, and how they can actually connect through Easy Speaky with some friends. On the content side, that's one of a big chunk of stuff that needs to be done, because I really want users to actually really improve their speaking skills. That's the whole purpose of the app. So I would like to invest time and research to propose diverse type of speaking exercises to be sure that I improve their skills. I would like to make some research into vocal recognition because it needs to be accurate. So I would like to be able to really correct the people if they say something wrong. And I would like to propose up-to-date techniques for flashcards practice. On the UI side, like I've been saying before, I realized it was something extremely important for my users. So I would really like to create a colorful and fun design that is based on the minimalist amount of information. For me, less is more. So I would like to focus really on, okay, what is this screen supposed to do, and not add anything that is not useful there. I would also like to base my app on rewards and gamification. So it's something fun. You actually want to go back because you have the feeling you play a game and it's not a boring way of learning a language. And in order to do all of that, I would need to extend the competitive analysis of the UI design for language learning app. So to know what competitors are doing and what can I do in Easy Speaky. To conclude, I would like to go through my learnings, my pros and cons. So starting with the pros, well, I really enjoyed the overall experience. The learning process and the design process was really interesting for me. It was really nice to work on a project from A to Z and to work on the same project, make something like it's kind of tangible and understandable, and you work with the purpose and you end up with a product that could actually very well be an app one day. So that was extremely interesting for me. And I also really like to talk to potential users and to learn from them. I got very unsuspected feedbacks, so I really like that. On the con side, it's more or less related to the same thing, to perfectionism and time estimation. I've lost a lot of times in details. I think it kind of makes sense because it's the first time I was doing this type of process, but then you really want to make it great, but you have to eventually make it work a bit faster than I thought. So that was a bit of a struggle for me. Sometimes as well, not knowing a better option. For example, the wireframe exercise by hand was the first time I was doing it, and I think I lost a lot of time to just build the screen by hand because I don't have a printer. So I just lose a lot of time in that steps, and that was a bit of a frustration. The time estimation from Carry Foundry, I think, sometimes is a bit off for me, so I need to always take 2 or 3 hours more in order to finish my tasks. And on my side, I would say that I wish I had targeted the audience for Easy Speaky a bit better. Some of my users were not speaking perfect English, or I had to explain way better every flow I wanted them to make. And some of them never used flashcards before, so I also had to explain that to them, which I think led to a lot of UI comment because I didn't understood. So that would be the cons, but overall, I really enjoyed the whole experience. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a nice day, and see you at Carry Foundry.